Hi, I'm Ashley. This is Food for the Fam. Join me as I make a full week of lunchbox ideas featuring fun sandwiches. First up is a fun fruity sandwich. We're going to use some sprouted grain bread, strawberry cream cheese, and then we're going to dice up some strawberry. If you have picky eaters, you can dice it pretty small. My kids aren't too picky about the strawberries, so I leave them kind of chunky, but whatever your kid prefers. Next, we're just going to smush it down a little bit. We're going to use a cutter here. I like these. These are from Lunch Punch, but a simple cookie cutter works as well. The rectangle cutter is nice because you can get the most out of the bread and doesn't leave too much behind. I really love the Yum Box brand. This lunchbox has held up super well, washed it for a full year, and the colors are still super vibrant. Now, my daughter is not a huge fan of raw veggies, prefers them mostly cooked, so snappies are one that she will have. Then we're just going to add in some veggie straws for this lunch and a few pumpkin seeds for a little bit of nutrition. And we're on to the next. For the second lunch, we're going to use this high fiber bread from a local bakery, and then we're going to use a Biscoff spread. You could always use like a granola spread, or if your school allows, a nut spread. We use this one because it is nut free. And then I'm going to use a heart-shaped cutter for this. I find with the cutters too, this bread does work really well. So if you can find a white bread with kind of some of the added nutrients and fiber of a whole wheat bread, that's always a good option, especially for the cutters. It just seems to hold up a little bit easier. Now, once I have all the hearts cut out, I will have a little bit of extra sandwich. So I usually cut out all of those little pieces, and my toddler loves to have a little snack while I'm making the lunches so that we got no waste, just the crusts, which they weren't going to eat anyway. So adding those to the lunchbox. Next up, we're going to just add in an orange. My daughter's pretty picky about any of the white stuff, so I'm just going to meticulously cut that all up for her. I try to make sure that those preschool lunches or kindergarten lunches, she's having things that are easy for her to eat, there's no extra time, and that she can enjoy her lunch when she's at school. To add some protein to the lunch, I'm going to do some plain Greek yogurt and then top that with kind of like a play on sprinkles. So first I do some pumpkin seeds, and then to kind of make it a little more fun, we do these no artificial dyed chocolate sprinkles. I love this brand, Watkins. Adding the chocolate sprinkles, which they're probably more familiar with, can make trying the pumpkin seeds a little bit easier. For our third lunch, we're going to start with a sprouted grain bagel from Silver Hills. If you can find these are a great option. They're high in protein, fiber, and whole grain, so kind of a good option to your regular bagel. And also, I just find my kids prefer that. The texture is like a little bit softer. They seem to enjoy it more than kind of your everything bagel. Then I'm going to do some regular cream cheese and then some little cutouts of honey ham. Like most little ones, my kids love berries, so we're going to do some chopped up strawberries. Then I'm just going to add a cute little animal pick. These are from a brand called Get Fresh on Amazon. And then I'm going to chop up some cucumbers quickly and just use a little food cutter to make it into a fun shape. For our next lunch, we're going to use the high fiber loaf again because we are doing a cutout right in the center. So a bread that kind of holds up works well for this. Then I just found this new blueberry cream cheese. Maybe some other markets had it, but it was new to Canada. Using a star cutter or any shape you prefer, I'm just going to cut out the center of the bread. Then I'm going to use these Pure Food naturally colored sprinkles. This is another good brand for sprinkles that have no artificial dyes. And then we just put the sandwich together, and it makes for a really fun surprise in their lunchbox. One raw veggie my daughter does really like is Caesar salad. So I'm just going to whip up a small portion of that to add to her lunch, but you could do any greens or salad that your kids like. Then we had some fresh peaches, so I'm just going to add those in there for a little bit of fruit. For the last lunch, we're going to do a modified peanut butter and jelly. So we're going to use sun butter. I like the no sugar added, and pair that with strawberry jam. For the bread, I'm using cinnamon raisin, and then we're going to top that with a few of the Watkins chocolate sprinkles. I'm going to use a circle cutter for this one, and I like to use the larger one and then go back with the smaller, kind of like the fruit cutters, and cut out the little smaller circles. That way we can use all of the sandwich, kind of eliminate any leftovers. Then adding a Baby Bell cheese, I always unwrap it and then just cut it up. This way it's super simple for them to eat and they don't need any assistance to get it open. For the fruit, I'm doing a gold kiwi. If your kids are not a big fan of kiwi and they find it a little bit sour, this is a super good option. It's a bit sweeter. And just like that, we're done for the week. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Food for the Fam for more snack and lunch ideas.